Hey, it's a little bit past 8. That's on me. Sorry about that. On the first Tuesday of the month, every month, that means it's time for the Philmont Trek Talk live chat discussion. We are simulcasting on YouTube and a couple different Facebook pages. We have a very distinguished panel here. And as usual, we're going to hold off on all of those introductions until we get give people a little time to get in here. I'm not hearing someone say something. I hadn't heard a peep from anyone yet.
Something.
Peep. Oh, yeah, I'm not hearing anything. Let me see. What have I done wrong?
Who's not ready?
I can hear everybody.
It is official. I am a hot mess today. Nothing but disappointment for everyone in me. Here we go. I can hear people now.
That's good.
All right. That was a tech issue.
And we just have to say nice things about you.
Yeah, you do now that I can hear. Good. I see some people rolling in, so I'll continue. I'll apologize like every 30 seconds until we get a critical mass of people. And then we can do the introductions, go around the panel and let everyone say hi. So what we do in this discussion is kind of variable from month to month. Sometimes we talk about how to pick your treks for Philmont or what type of gear to take or, who knows what we're going to talk about. This is a weird month because most crews that were going for summer treks this summer have already gone. There are a few that are still, queued up to start shortly. And hopefully some of those people will show up with questions so we can help them to have their best trek. And also folks that have been out on the trail, I'm hoping that they will pop in with comments to let us know how things are going for them. I'm telling you, this thing, I keep getting the little robot look here where it looks like it's not working. Scott, would you like to take the reins and drive since it looks like technology is not cooperating with me?
I can drive. I'm not sure what I'm driving, but I can take the wheel.
Sure.
So I see that we are on Facebook. I cannot see participants on that screen just yet, so that may have a technology bug there.
Scott, no chair. I like that.
Sounds like one of our participants has got a garbage truck going in the background.
Well, it's not me. I'm in a hotel in Missouri, and I think all the construction workers are having the Mexican dinner down in the
nice.
Just outside my door, I think. So yeah.
Nice. Well, while we were waiting, I don't think I've had the honor of meeting Rob in pseudo person here, but I think we're going to do our introductions a little bit later. Maybe we can update everybody while we wait on what types of adventures that we did have this summer. I'll start off. Unfortunately, I did not make it to Philmont this summer, but I did come back a couple of weeks ago from my second trek up at Northern Tier with forest fires and all. So it was quite the adventure. I'm fully dried out, and I am ready to hike on my next adventure. Well, I take that back. To sail on my next adventure, then to hike on. So I think I know Jeff and Sal recently did a trek at Philmont this summer. I'm not sure about Rob.
Yeah, I did. I actually ran into Jeff as we were leaving. And that was kind of a weird thing. I said, I know you. I've seen your face. And he said, I'm sorry. And so we talked a minute. And yeah, we've been trying to get to Philmont. This is the third time's the charm. So we finally got through a trek, and it was a tough one, but it was nice to be able to finally hit the last high adventure base for my son. So, but yeah, that was the 2 weeks of the summer. So I've been working nonstop ever since just to make up for those 2 weeks. So
yeah. It looks like maybe the internet is cooperating with me. I probably just jinxed it by saying that. So I'm going to attempt to talk a little bit. If it gets all robotic again, then someone else is going to have to step up and drive. But I think we've stalled long enough that we can go around do the official introductions. So I think let's go down to Scott and then over to Sal and up to Rob. Just a little quick, hey, how are you? And then we can dive into whatever topics we have.
Awesome. I'm Scott O'Mary. Scott No Chair O'Mary for this evening's call. I am the Scoutmaster at Troop 259 here in Plano, Texas, where it's actually a reasonable 90 degrees for a change. So we're enjoying the cooler temps here in Texas. I've been on a couple of Philmont treks, a normal summer trek as well as a winter adventure trek at Philmont. And if you joined earlier in the call, I just got back a couple of weeks ago from my second Northern Tier trek. Been to the summit. I am planning a Sea Base Bahamas trip for next summer. So, and starting off recruiting for Philmont 2023 this October. So I'm getting all excited about Philmont one more time. I'll bounce it over. Oops, sorry. To Sal.
Me, Sal Porto, Assistant Scoutmaster, Troop 212 in Lutz, Florida. Just completed my 6th trek at Philmont, trek number 24. Highly recommend it. It was fun. Already planning on trek number 7 next year. Hoping to bring another 72 people out there. So far, we got 35 out of 72 already filled. So we're working on it. And of course, it's team chair. It's a tie. It's 2-2, I guess, right? 2 team chairs, two naysayers. So I will go up to Rob.
Yes, I am team chair, and I that was worth the 2 pounds I lugged for 11 days. So I don't care what Scott and Jeff says. They're wrong. Sorry. I do also like boots. So, you know,
there you go.
I'm on the list. So my name is Rob Smith. I am a committee chair for Troop 85 in O'Fallon, Illinois, part of the Greater St. Louis Area Council. I'm also the, if we ever have a national jamboree again, I'm the committee chair for the Greater St. Louis Area Council. I'm not convinced that'll ever happen in my lifetime. So I've been to all 4 high adventure bases throughout the years, all 4 with my son, which was kind of cool. He's aging out, so now I get to plan other adventures. So I also developed highadventurescouting.com and a website for leaders to find not just the national bases, but there are 35 or so council bases around the country that have awesome activity. So kind of the idea is to, no matter where you go, have some kind of high adventure activity, whether it's a national base or a local base. So, and that came out of our 2018 well, there you go. There it is. When we got shut out in 2018 from Philmont, so we had to look for somewhere else to go. So I appreciate being on the panel. That was a surprise, so I appreciate being involved and glad to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you here. Let's see. Hey, I'm Jeff. I am a skipper for a Sea Scout ship, and I hesitate sometimes because a lot of people don't know what a Sea Scout ship is. It is an actual type of BSA unit. We're real, and you don't even have to be at the sea to have Sea Scout ships. So. And Sea Scouts can go to Philmont, so it is relevant. I'm not just rambling incessantly for no apparent reason. I'll be there about, no. Andy, you are uninvited, all right? And it has nothing to do with, well, it has everything to do with your team chair allegiance. So, all right, so I thought something we could do today. So a bit of housekeeping. We have seen a couple comments come in from my internet again, doesn't it? We've seen a couple comments come in from Facebook user. There are some instructions if you go to StreamYard.com, Facebook user, or Facebook, something like that. It'll let you put your name in so that you show up as a real person. All right, we have got crazy background noise coming from someone. So there we go. So anyhow, let's see. That was one bit of housekeeping. What was the other one? If you have questions, couple things. Number one, we don't know you're there unless you say something. So leave us a comment. If you've already been, let us know what trek you were on. If you have something coming up this year, let us know about that, especially if you have something coming this year, because we can help you before you go. If you are one of the crew representatives for someone going next year or the year after, I'm telling you, there are a lot of crews that are pretty solidly into their planning, have already done some shakedowns for next year. We're happy to chat with you about anything you need to know as well. So we're wide open. This is one of those weird kind of between topic times where, because of where we are in the summer trek schedule, we got a lot of freedom about what we want to talk about. So why don't we start with, let me put everyone here on the spot and say, on your Philmont treks, what has surprised you the most? And I'm thinking in terms of like pre-planning and, making sure you got the right gear, the right procedures, you've thought through everything. What thing, if you can think of anything that's like, ooh, we got out on the trail and realized we had completely neglected to even consider blank. Is there anything for any of you guys? You guys are probably too smart to do that, right? I'm the only one who does that kind of thing.
Ours was using the Philmont tents. Well, we won't do that again. They were not as advertised. So I don't know whether it's this year, but that was really the only thing that's I think we would do differently. And our crew going next year, I've already told them, take our troop tents. We've got some good tents.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
We had, let's see, six Philmont tents. We had no issues with them. So I think it's just a roll of the dice.
It must be because all four of ours leaked in every corner on the top. It was just it was like there was no waterproofing. So yeah, I'm glad you didn't have a problem. That was our only
we were fine because we had 6 days of rain. I mean, that was. We had rain every day, so but the Philmont tents were dry. Actually, that was probably one of the few places that were dry. It was inside the tent.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Other thing to change from next year, I don't know. We had it pretty good. We got lost, but that's okay. We took the scenic route to Sealy Canyon. So
yeah,
if anybody can look at the northern map. And
I've
look
done
for
that
the Poniel.
with bears before, Sal. It's not a fun,
well, we went from Dan Beard. We ended up at the Poniel Ranch fence line. So figure that out. And I was really nice. I didn't say anything the whole time. I just la-di-da-di-da, let him figure it out. We took the scenic route, as I say.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we only did that once or twice where we really went the wrong direction. And unfortunately, the one that I'm thinking of that I think is probably seared into everyone's mind was one of the adults kept speaking up and he influenced our navigator and influenced him the wrong direction. And we went a mile uphill before folks figured out what it was. That was a nice lesson for everyone, including the adults, I think.
We did good. When we did it, that night, instead of saying that we got lost, I told everybody we got the full Philmont experience that day. So that was my rose.
So Tammy makes it.
Go for it.
Tammy makes a good observation that waterproofing can be impacted by how the tents are washed when they're brought back. I honestly suspect that is. To me, that's one of the big risks of using a Philmont tent is crew after crew after crew have used them, washed them, cared for them. And I think that oftentimes people aren't as diligent when when it's not their stuff and they're not going to have to use it again. So the consequences make people more diligent, I think. And the lack of consequences for how you care for that tent I think set even good people up to maybe be a little lax. I think that impacts the tents, but there are no wrong direction, just a scenic route. Okay, and yeah, most of the time, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Jeff, going back to your original question about what surprised us the most, I would say the amount of food that you are provided for your trek is surprisingly a lot for what I was used to or expecting. And I even have a peanut allergy, and I did not do anything special to accommodate that really, and it was still just a lot of food. Now, it could have been that my appetite was suppressed from altitude for the first few days, but there's a lot of calories, guys.
I still lost 10 pounds. I'm not sure how
Yes.
that happened, and I ate everything, even more than what I probably needed. So
I think everybody loses thing. One thing I noticed on the food this year was the new way they did you had to ask for certain stuff, like the crackers and stuff. They weren't automatically given to you. That was something new.
The extra items for meals.
Yeah.
Right? We actually
I have
requested
heard,
tortillas.
I've seen notes from a few people.
We only asked for crackers. We didn't. They opt out on the
I've heard reports from a few crews. I've heard of a few crews that weren't aware at all that they needed to request that extra stuff, and then they're wondering why their meals are so light. I apologize. I'm going to assume that my all right, Scott, why don't you
Oh, now we lost Scott.
I
Sorry,
can't
guys,
hear
I was
Scott.
on mute.
There we go.
There we
Oh,
go.
there you go.
So, I think someone's dog is in the background with us too. I think tonight maybe it was Sal.
It's one of mine too. Yeah, one of mine monsters.
That's okay. So, when did you get back off the track? And tell me a little bit, since I didn't make it this year, tell me a little bit about closing ceremony. Was there a ceremony? I heard back and forth if there wasn't. There was. How was it different in the past years?
We got picked up at 1:40 in the afternoon, which was late, but that's okay. We did cowboy action shooting in the morning. That was fine. Closing ceremony it was windy, rainy, so they had it in the pavilion there behind the staff amusement center, whatever they want to call it. It was shorter than usual, and I thought it was. I think it was only like 35 minutes long. They sang like 3 or 4 songs, and that was about it. Boom, they're done. They passed out the plaques, and that was it. I mean, it was not as intense as it used to be.
But they showed had it. They didn't have.
Yeah, they still had it. It was
going on.
yeah. I think because June was COVID protocol more. It was more. They didn't want everybody up on stage, and you had to wear your mask, and you had to do all that other stuff to go with it. So, I think that's the reason why it was shortened. They didn't want because people were supposed to wear masks, and some of us didn't wear masks, and so they cut it short. I think it was 30 minutes long, if that long. But like I said, they still showed the pictures, like they always show the pictures of the crews, the group shots. They still showed those. They passed out they didn't. I know in the past they used to bring all the crew leaders up to the stage. They didn't do it this year. They had them just stand up and they walked around as they called out their names. But other than that, I didn't go to the opening because I was doing something else, so I missed that one. But the closing ceremony, again, to me, was not as elaborate as it used to be.
Got it. Now, I know at our July Q&A session, on the front end of the track, they were talking about your entire crew needed to go to the same religious ceremony. Is that still in place now? Do you know?
No, now you can go to anyone you want to.
Okay.
They changed that like July something.
July 1st, yeah.
July 1st, yeah.
We were
They changed.
actually out on the trail when they changed a lot of the stuff. So once we got back, we did have a full. It wasn't full as it was when I went there last, as far as the closing ceremony, but it was about 45 minutes. It was long enough for us. We left right after that. So, but it was nice. It wasn't hokey. It was several songs and pictures, and we kind of liked it. Did not go to the opening ceremony. We were doing laundry from the 3 days before we got to Philmont. So didn't go to the religious service, but I think when we got there, they were recommending everybody go to the same service. So
yeah, we all went to the same one.
Changed. Yeah.
Yeah,
we were washing clothes. We didn't get there. So.
Got it. Now, there's probably a few folks on here that are like Sal, already planning mindset for next summer for Philmont. Maybe you can share, since this is not your first rodeo to Philmont, what you guys are doing to recruit your scouts for next year. You said about half the slots filled?
Yeah, we're hoping to fill 72 slots. We have 35 filled already. What we do is in our council, we have 3 Philmont ambassadors, and we go wherever we need to go. Thursday, I'm doing a program preview. We go to Wood Badge, we go to Powderhorn, we'll go anywhere, just about any place we want to. We're also doing this year, our council has the ability to make commercials. So they're going to make a Philmont commercial and post it on Facebook and all that, and see if that can drum up some more people.
Okay. So you're recruiting your entire council, not just your troop there.
Yeah, we do council contingent. So we are hopefully to fill 72 slots. We're taking 6 crews.
What about you, Rob?
Well, I'm kind of on the other end. We actually had 2 crews in 2018 and 2020, and we ended up splitting up the 2 crews from last year, one this year, one next year, and took the older boys this year that are aging out, and then we had almost an equal number of younger guys that are going next year. So we'd like around 10, but I think we'll probably end up in the 8 to 9 range. Philmont's not a trip for everybody. So, we've had one young man said, you know what, I don't want to do this. Good, we don't want you there. He's going somewhere else. So he went to Z-Base this summer and had a blast in Oklahoma. So it's more on a troop level, kind of seeing who's available and what adults want to go. And I am not going next year. I'm taking a year off. I've had basically something every year for the last 6. So my wife tells me I have to take the year off. So
I mentioned earlier that our troop is starting to recruit in early October for Philmont 2023. We'll do it that time frame because I believe the lottery starts off in late October, early November.
Yeah, usually October.
Right, and hopefully by then we'll get a good gauge on how many crews we will need. Last time we took 2 full crews, and we're planning on doing with some of our Philmont experienced scouts and scouters, doing a kind of a introductory backpacking night in November, just to give a dose of reality to particularly the adult side of the equation, just to make sure that this is what they really are signing up for. So that's kind of our recruitment schedule short term. Welcome back, Jeff.
Yeah, I had to go around the house and kick kids off of TikTok. So apparently my regular monthly scheduled don't get on the internet when dad's running a broadcast went on deaf ears, and TikTok overruled their desire to stay in my good graces. And yeah. So
they just need unlimited data. That's that would solve it right there.
Yeah, they do. They do. If they had dad with unlimited wallet, they could have that. But
that's right.
Dad went to Philmont this year and then ran a week of the Sea Scout camp, and then just got back from taking a kid to the Junior Olympics. So Dad's out of money. You mentioned you got to take some time off, and you got back and had to work. Man, I got back. I had a week, and then went to Sea Scout camp. So there was a lot of planning there, and then back for a few days, and then off to the Junior Olympics. So I am ready for a vacation right now.
I don't have time for a vacation.
Right? Yeah. Well, I work for myself.
That's me too.
Yeah. I'm envious of the people who are like, oh yeah, I'll just take a week of vacation. I'm like, what's that? Oh, that's right. That's when you don't get paid. Because that's what it is when you work for yourself. Mm-hmm. Okay. So recruiting for Philmont, I'll tell you, for me this summer, it was through this group, through the Philmont Trek Talk group, that I was invited to go on a Philmont trek. So I don't know how they did the recruiting. It seemed to be from within a couple of local troops in that area. Okay, Andy, we can agree on the TikTok ban. That's good. But when I went years ago, it was on a council contingent, and they were always full, like had a waiting list. So I think this concept of having to go out and recruit's kind of new in some areas where they always have a backlog of people wanting to go. I have been kicking around. Is it time? In 2017, when we went, that was just a troop. Instead of going as a council contingent, we went as a troop, and we filled it from within our troop. Plus, one of the guys invited a friend to join scouting so he could go to Philmont. And he did. He signed up. He went to Philmont, and then he quit. But that was the plan, because he got back and a week later went to boot camp for the Marine Corps. So it's not like he was coming to scout meetings for us anyway. But yeah, so if we do one in the next couple years with the troop, I am going to have to figure out how to do recruiting. So yeah, I'm eager to hear the ideas everyone has.
Oh, I will tell you that within our troop, we plan 2 high adventure trips of some sort each year. We probably have 40 or 50 boys. So not a huge troop, but something small, something bigger, and plan that out a couple of years. And so we've got 2 sea base crews going in December, and that has to cannibalize from other trips, but that's okay. Most of the people going on that trip, about half of them would not go to Philmont because that's not their thing, and that's okay. So that's why there are other opportunities. And frankly, I thought the sea base trip was much more relaxing than the Philmont trip. So
yeah,
because I didn't have to do anything.
I'm hoping to go to sea base. Yeah,
it was awesome.
I'm hoping to go to sea base at some point. That looks like a good trip.
It's a vacation. That's your vacation right there. That's an expensive vacation. So
it's my backyard, sea base.
Yeah.
We find it
nice.
The high adventure trips we think might cannibalize a little bit more on the summer camp side of the equation. But to your point, I think those older scouts probably have got all the merit badges they want from summer camp anyway. They'd much rather you do a high adventure trip. Maybe we cannibalize 1 or 2 spots summer camp. That's about it.
Yeah, that's how
we don't have too many scouts going after about age 14. That's kind of the age when they've been 3 years, maybe 4, and they're done. So, and that's okay. That's why you have high adventure, to do those other things.
Yeah. That's how we advertise in the council level. When we do it, we say your boys are 15, 16 years old. They've done 4 or 5 summer camps. They're getting bored with summer camps. You want to push them to the next level. Here you go. They want a challenge. So, and we're also getting ready to send out email blast to everybody. So,
I want to thank Tammy for speaking up here. That Philmont was the hardest thing she's ever done, and no vacation. I think that a lot of people, I think to Rob's point earlier about some of the kids don't want to go, and fine, we don't want them. That's something that I hope, man, we've had some kind of nasty discussions within the group over the past couple years where someone will suggest, oh, that person doesn't need to go. And we've had a few people speak up and say, no, scouting is inclusive. Everyone gets to do everything. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Have you been in the backcountry?
They're not going with me. I will tell you that right now.
Well, and for this summer's trip, I was as firm as I felt like I could be with the troop that invited me to go with them. I went on one hike with them and said, there are a couple people that need to not go because they won't make it. And it's going to be, and it's their dream to go, but it's going to turn into a nightmare, not just for them, for everyone else. And I still feel like that was the best thing for everyone. I believe that the people came around and accepted, yeah, they really didn't need to be out there either. But it didn't happen initially. It was kind of a hard road to get them to the point where they would accept that, Philmont isn't the all-inclusive, everyone gets to do it. It is, the backcountry doesn't care who you are or why you have any medical issues or anything. The backcountry don't care. It's going to whoop your butt, even if you're in good shape. If you have issues, you probably need to look at scheduling one of the family adventure trips where you don't have to do a lot of hiking, and they will take you out and show you stuff in the backcountry, and you still get the experience without being a burden on a crew. And to that, something that I wanted to get out there for people to really consider. I know it happened in our crew, and I've heard about it on a couple other crews. And I'm wondering if there isn't some tie to something in the air after the fires went through. People who had asthma that was under control that have had flare-ups in the backcountry. Like they've been good for years, but they get out in the backcountry this year and they start having asthma attacks and problems. I'm wondering if there isn't some lingering residue, something in the air that's messing with people out there. But I'd like for people in the group to be aware, if you have anyone who's had asthma before, who's had an inhaler, bring that rescue inhaler just in case, even if they don't need them anymore. That's what that beep was. I wondered what it was. I heard that beep and I was looking around like, why did it just beep at me? It was Andy trying to get in.
Oh man,
it might have been a TikTok. I'm not sure.
Now.
Yeah. I had a boy that hadn't had an asthma issue for 5 years. Got pulled off the trail this year for 5 days because of his asthma. He had his inhaler and everything. He just couldn't do it. He even in the flats, even on the flat grounds, he was having every 15 minutes. We were stopping for 15 minutes. Yep. You make no progress that way.
Yep.
So at Sealy Canyon, they came and picked him up and took him back. He stayed there for 5 days or 4 days. But he had never had asthma issues in the last 5 years. So it might be the lingering fire effects or something. Who knows?
Yeah. It may also depend how many forest fires are close to Philmont. I know I was doing a lot of research for some trips we're doing up in Wyoming, and there's really bad smog and smoke in Wyoming from California fires. So you could be hundreds and hundreds of miles away, 1,000 miles away, and still have that stuff blown into the area. So that could very well be affecting the boys, just what's going on out west. Yeah,
it could be worth putting a bug in like Nate's ear or something, someone out at the infirmary to say, hey, y'all tracking this? Have you seen any kind of trends like this that we can warn people about so that they can come a little bit better prepared before they hit the trail? Interesting. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Andy. You want to do a quick intro for the people who don't know you?
Yeah, Andy Parrish. I'm with Troop 152 in Westfield, Indiana. I'm the high adventure chair, so I'm typically put in charge of coordinating all of our high adventure trips. So I've done treks at Philmont, led treks, canoe trips up to Boundary Waters, and that's kind of my thing. I also have a YouTube channel, Andy Parrish Outdoors, which does everything backpacking, gear reviews. I've got an entire section on Philmont tips and tricks, Philmont gear, all that kind of stuff too. So glad to be a part.
And they're awesome videos. So
thank you. Thank you. I wanted to put them out there kind of with the approach that there's a lot of folks, there's a lot of families, a lot of scouts that this may be their first time doing, big backpacking trips. And, what types of things do you need to know from the perspective of, some of these scouts, this may be the only time they ever backpack, or the parents that are going along. It may be the only time they really backpack. What do they need to know? Everything from, footwear, gear, you name it. So hopefully I'll continue to build that up, because I just find it would have been useful my first trek having a lot of that information online. So if I can just put some things out there that people find useful, great. Nobody has the crystal ball that has all the best stuff. So it's kind of like trying to get as much information as you can and kind of put it together and figure out what's best for you. So as we joke here about, whether it's best to bring a chair or not bring a chair, or to wear boots or to wear trail runners or whatever, there's going to be lots of different points of view, but it's great if that's all out there and you can consume that kind of information and then make the best choice for you.
I was going to say that our group was what you described, the place for all of the best information. And then I was like, oh yeah, team chair. Yeah, never mind.
Well, it's a double-edged sword. You got to take the good with the bad, right? The chair with the no chair.
My son is a no chair, and he made fun of me for taking a chair with me. He says, "What are you doing, Dad?"
Yeah.
That's 2 pounds. I said, I don't care. You do what you want in your bag, and I'll do in mine. So I'm not carrying your stuff. You're not carrying mine. So
that's up. Right. And there's at least once that he looked at you sitting in that chair and thought, I'm not going to say anything, but I wish I had a chair. So
he was the only one, I think, that didn't. And we were at Bear Caves camp, and we had a view of the Tooth of Time. We were all sitting there watching it and watching the sun go down, and he wasn't sitting in a chair. So that's probably the only time he wanted a chair, but that's all right.
Yeah.
He's 17. He knows it all. So,
I think everybody except for 2 people had chairs out of our 12. Two didn't have chairs, and trust me, they wanted chairs after the 5th day of rain. They couldn't find someplace to sit that was not wet and damp. I said, I have a chair. It's nice and dry. Sorry, you can't use it. But
I don't get it. It rained half of my trek. I never wanted a chair. I never sat in the mud. Never sat in anything wet.
That's just you. lucky spots. So you found a lucky spots.
Lucky spots day after day all over the ranch. It's amazing. You
should have played the lottery.
Yeah. So let's see. We're 38 minutes in. We're not getting a lot of interactivity in the comments. I think we're a little light. I think that a lot of people are suffering what some of us talked about, where it was such a drain to get everything together to go on a trek this summer that they're back and trying to unbury themselves. And, I don't even want to think about Philmont right now. So for those, take the time you need, decompress a little bit. You'll be back. Yeah, we'll be here when you're ready. But if anyone has any questions,
we'll have a new group come like October, November.
Oh yeah,
all the 22 people.
Yep.
Okay, so here's a quick discussion topic before we wrap things up. How can we best help the people who are going to be wandering in the next month or two Maybe this is, big lessons learned, or from a process standpoint, looking back, what do you think would have helped you? What can we do to give them a better experience than we had?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if Philmont's going to be doing their Facebook Lives like they did last year. But I think we did I want to say the opposite of them. We didn't do the same subjects they did, which I think was good. We don't want to do the same. We don't want to say, hey, Philmont's doing gear, we're going to do gear. But like we did the Trek books, how to pick a Trek, and the camp ones. Philmont didn't do that because it's too narrow of a topic. I like that topic though.
Yeah.
So I think that's a bit, but if we do it, maybe we could start a little bit earlier, because we could probably start in maybe October or somewhere like that, and start, because people are going to start looking for gear once they sign up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People who signed up now are going to start looking for gear. And that's going
and
to be the first thing they're going to look for. What kind of backpack do I need? What kind of shoes do I need? What kind of chair is the best one?
I'll tell you, I learned something just reading the comments and reading the subjects, and I didn't get to see all of the Facebook Lives. I went back and watched them afterwards, and I went and, of course, everybody has to watch Andy's channel, but see what's going on and what everybody has a different view of things. I mean, I didn't take any Nalgene's because I took all smart water bottles. I took nesting pots. Jeff and I are on that jet boils. So we did a lot of suggestions to our group. We had only boys, but about, okay, this is the stuff that I've seen, I've learned, and I changed my setup probably 5 times before we ever got there. And by that time I was we tried everything at all the practice hikes and the shakedowns, and we changed from one stove to another, and ended up taking a jet boil. And so there's just a lot of different stuff that I actually learned I thought I knew a lot. Well, I got a lot of good suggestions from this group. Not as much from the Philmont hour and a half long things, more through this group, but that's just me.
I would add that I think maybe September, October, November timeframe, people are going to start thinking shakedown hike, and maybe we could do a program on just laying out a weekend or a normal 2-day weekend, or maybe in a 3-day weekend, in terms of a schedule, things to think about, that sort of thing. Maybe in conjunction with those scouts that are trying to work on their backpacking merit badge, what they might need to be considering as well with their shakedown hikes.
Maybe training schedules of what some of us went through this year. I know Andy went a couple of years ago. Jeff went this year. So, yeah.
Yeah, training schedule. I mean, everybody has their own, and maybe we could kind of do, I mean, I'm a flatlander. I'm in Florida. We ain't got no hills or nothing. I mean, we're lucky if we get 100 feet above sea level, and that's barely. How do we train for Philmont compared to somebody that lives somewhere that actually has mountains or hit bigger hills? I mean, it's a whole different world to train where we are. And it's even, people say do stairs, but most of your football your high school football stadiums are locked now. You can't get to them anymore. They're all fenced in. And a lot of your buildings now are locked down on weekends. So the only place you got left to do stairs is garages. And I don't like to hike on concrete for 6-7 hours.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
So maybe that's something we can talk about, how to train in your environment.
Yeah, I've got, as part of the Team Shameless plug, I have a Gear Report article up here on adult crew advisor physical preparation, because there are youth that need to do things to get in shape. But really, it's mostly us old people who sit at desk or our bodies are worn out. And we have grandiose memories of how we used to be able to do everything, but that was decades ago. So, we've got some good guidance and thoughts. And that article there is really an amalgamation of the feedback from lots and lots of different people in our group here. And, Sal mentioned being at low elevation without a lot of hills. If I'm not mistaken, Scott wrote an article about Flatlander's preparation for a Philmont Trek that's also on Gear Report. So, and Andy, also part of the Andy Parrish Outdoors fan club, although I read his stuff mostly on Gear Report, where he has some articles to help people find gear. And of course, Gear Report itself has a variety of different articles on gear, because that's what we do. We report on gear. So, did I leave any shameless plugs off?
I think you cover them all. I had one other
Awesome.
thought. It's very niche, but we have some crews out there that might be planning a autumn adventure or a winter adventure at Philmont. That might be quite a bit of different preparation for those that maybe there's a first Tuesday of the month that would make sense to cover something like that.
Yeah, and I'll encourage people to, let's see, I'm trying to find it in another window here. There it is. Speaking of the other opportunities, have I stalled long enough I can get this open? There we go. I did a video a couple years ago with Luke out at Philmont about the winter adventure program. So if you have any interest, you know what, just go watch it, whether you think you're interested or not. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that. I thought I had no interest in a winter adventure trek when I walked into Luke's office and said, "Hey man, I got the camera, let's go shoot a video about something." And he said, "Well, I'd really like to get some information out about winter adventure." And I was like, yeah, could we talk about something interesting or something that people actually want to do? And he's like, no, trust me. So we went out and we talked about it. By the time he was done, I was like, wow, that does sound awesome. So go watch the video. You'll hear. He's very convincing that you don't have to suffer to hike in the cold. And that really kind of summarized my thoughts going into it. Was the only way to camp in the winter is just to suffer.
There's a little suffering involved.
Yeah, but that happens everywhere. Yeah. Two advisors at sort of, yep. And this is what I harp on. What Kenneth said in this comment here about adults slowing the crew down and missing program. That to me is, I don't want to call it the cardinal sin. I'm sure there are things you could do that are worse than this, but this is one of those real preventable ones. And to all the team chair and team carry, whatever you want, heavy stuff, the team luxury item, that's what we'll call it. If this is you slowing people down and making them miss program, you got to jettison that stuff. You don't even take it. If you can keep up, you're not going to slow your crew down, carry whatever you want. That is my perspective. Now, I will make fun of team chair people relentlessly because it entertains me. But from a practical standpoint, if you want to carry it and you can keep up and not slow your crew down and not bring on additional injury risk for yourself, have at it. Carry whatever you want. That's kind of where I come from. But
I trained twice as hard just to stay up with the guys that were I was three times older than them. So I think we did pretty good. So, but yeah, it took a long time to get to that point.
Yeah. Wow. It hadn't occurred to me that I was 3 times the age of several of our scouts. Man, why'd you have to tell me that, Rob?
No. Well, I thought about it the whole time we were out there. So,
yeah. All right. Let's see. Any parting words here. We've been going 50 minutes. The comments are slowing down in the chat. Let's do last call for comments now. If you have anything you want to ask about, anything you want to say, any experiences from the trail this year or in prior years that you want to share real quick, put them in the comments now. And why don't we go around the circle here, and we can interrupt if any comments come in. But if anyone, if you have any parting words, any, gems of wisdom, things you learned on the trail this year or not, maybe you just want to say goodbye, whatever. We'll go this way and then down and back up.
I have no words of wisdom, but I will tell you, my crew leader came across your article on the Philmont cooking method, Jeff, and he was sold on it. And I said, awesome.
Nice.
And after I saw you at Philmont, I went back and told him, I said, I ran into that guy. He goes, really? So that's, we did not take the Philmont pots. We took our own.
Yes. Hey, fun fact, the number 2 dude at Philmont, what's his name? Is it Steve?
Steve Nelson?
Yeah, Steve Nelson.
Yeah,
Steve saw me buy logistics. And he came up, I was wearing my Ask Your Crew Leader shirt, and he came up and we started talking, and he looked, and he's like, oh, I know who you are. And he immediately went into, a lot of people don't know this, but it's been 20 years since we've revisited our processes and some of our gear recommendations. And I've actually assigned one of our senior rangers, one of our head rangers, to look into this stuff and make some updates. And he also said he was going to come try to have dinner with me on the trail one night, which he didn't. I waited up every night, Steve, and you never showed up.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah. But anyhow, I am hoping that as the season winds down, that he will connect with me so we can talk about gear and recommendations. And I have a circle of people that I would like to introduce and to him to be a part of that process. And it may shock you guys, but I purposely seek out people who disagree with me on things as well. So I think we need to have all viewpoints represented in this discussion, and not just we've always done it this way, this is how we're going to do it. But yes, they are aware. As much as in years past, people have said they don't care, they're aware they care. I've heard it from the horse's mouth. And we'll see if anything changes. But, at least he came to me to tell me that. And I thought that was meaningful. So
awesome. Yep. He's a good guy.
Yep.
He's a very guy. Words of wisdom. If you're going next year, you better start training now. I took a week off and I'm back at it already. So just keep on moving, keep on going. With all the words of wisdom, embrace the suck, as one of my kids said, because that was his motto for everything. Every day it rained. Every the time everybody complained, he said, "Hey, just embrace the suck." I said, "Okay, fine, embrace the suck." But that's about it, guys. I mean, hopefully, we'll have a good season this year, and we'll get back to normal for next year.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, you're up, Mr. Scott.
You're up.
I'm going to go a little broader than Philmont with my words of wisdom. And if you have the Triple Crown or the Grand Slam in your future, where you're going to try to hit 3 or 4 of the National High Adventure programs, there's a little bit of equipment that you could share amongst all those adventures. Not much. But what it really boils down to is rain gear you can use on all 4 of those adventures. So don't go cheap. Get some good quality rain gear, and you'll be able to use it for all your adventures. That's all I got to say.
I don't think I've ever paddled in a poncho. I'm going to have to try that.
No poncho in a canoe.
Oh, yeah. That sounds like a disaster waiting to happen to me. Yeah.
Andy, you're up. And you're on mute.
Just let him go. We'll see how long.
Just let him go. See how long that takes. I heard you.
It's probably something about a chair or something.
I was pontificating on just how much recovery you get out of sitting in a chair versus sitting on a log. But since we missed that, I'll move on. I would just say, I'm big into research, into knowing what you're getting into, testing your stuff out before you go. So I love that. Deep thoughts. I would just say, the group has been created as a great resource for asking people. I'm a big believer in asking questions, trying to get to, as many different points of view as you possibly can. I read this stuff, I research it. So in a lot of cases that other people don't have to. So if people come into the group and they ask a question, you're going to get some great answers, some different answers, and it's going to give you some things to think about. But I think that makes you better and more prepared to even start the process of, well, what kind of fitness do I need to worry about? What kind of gear do I need to start shopping for? I'd say before you even go out and buy or do those types of things, come into the group, go into Facebook, ask those questions. You'll get tons of valuable information that you can then turn around and start thinking about. What do I need to buy? How much do I need to start working out? What kind of physical demands is this trip gonna, demand of me? So, before you even start, get good information and then go from there. I'd hate to see people do missteps and go down the wrong path and then realize, oh, well, that's not going to work for me at all. Let me go in a completely different direction. Get as much of the information as you can up front and then go down the process. And if you're unsure, come back to the group, ask those questions. There's so many people that I respect in that group that, will completely argue against, a certain point of view or for a certain point of view, but it's great to see that back and forth, and it makes me better informed. So I'm a big advocate of the group and getting as much information as you can.
Nice. Well said. I knew there was a reason we keep inviting you back here. Yeah. So, I want to wrap up. I'll have faith. So, interesting story. Every Wednesday, if you're bored at 8:00 Eastern on a Wednesday, come check out This Week at Gear Report. It's our weekly live broadcast where I typically will have some sort of snarky label for myself, like El Jefe. And somehow, when I messed up the time of the start of this broadcast and came on late, I forgot to change that. So TJ, one of our gun writers at Gear Report, Eagle Eye caught that. Oh, look at that. Hugh, Hugh, I thought Scott had invited him to be a part of the broadcast. I thought I saw that a couple days ago. When I was out in Texas trying to deal with very little internet while my daughter was swimming at the Junior Olympics. So I was hoping Hugh was going to join.
I think Jeff went bye-bye.
For the group, my internet stops working smoothly. Isn't that how it always works?
Somebody's on TikTok again.
I guarantee you one of my kids is sitting there. I've been off for 12 and a half minutes. He can't really expect me to stay off this whole time.
Unreasonable.
Yep. Oh, I know. But that's me. So I was saying, you have a great trek. Sorry you weren't able to join us here on the broadcast. But man, I'm envious, but I'm also exhausted right now. So I'm not envious. But also, I'd like to welcome back, he's probably not here, but Scott Hinesley went on the trek with me in mid-June. So he got back right at the end of June. 2 weeks later, dude's back on the trail with his other son. They were supposed to go 2 different years, but the first one got bumped from last year to this year. He ended up going twice, 2 weeks apart. So the big guy was out on the trail twice this summer. For a kid, that's one thing. But for someone who's like 50, that's rough. And apparently he made it. So good on you, Scotty. He may still be like there at the infirmary. I don't know, but maybe Hugh can check in and see if he's there. Everyone, please, Hugh, when you get there, go into the Welcome Center and give the bear a high five for me, please. Tell Larry and Clay that we appreciate everything they're doing. They handle massive numbers of people coming through that Welcome Center every day, and they do a great job at it with a smile. So we appreciate that as well. And run over to the museum and see the folks over there too, because they're cool. Lots of good people. The last plug. Oh, I got another one. Go into Cimarron and patronize some of the businesses, because they are suffering like you wouldn't believe. They really need every penny that they can get, and we can help them survive. Philmont needs Cimarron. Cimarron needs Philmont. We had to keep that symbiotic relationship alive and well. So please, folks, if you have an opportunity, please do that.
I think from our exchange, Hugh and his crew are spending 2 nights at the Whittington Center this week. So I suspect
That's awesome.
we've got a day of shooting in your future.
That could be cool. So Hugh, go down the road. Let's see, if you're in the cabins, keep going past the cabins down to the end of the dirt road at the old mining town. And there aren't any structures left. There are some like bases of buildings, but they've got a bunch of informational stuff. And the old mine is back there. You can't go in the old mine. And I know scouts, they will try to figure out how to get in. Don't let them. Probably not safe, but there's some really kind of cool historical stuff back there. So check that out if you're at the Whittington Center. Don't miss the museum. That's pretty awesome as well. Yep. Gift shop. Yeah, not really a gift shop kind of guy, but they got some cool stuff in the museum. Lots of cool stuff. The coffee shop there is wonderful. All right, let's give a plug to Melissa at Hikers Direct Coffee in Cimarron, New Mexico, who collaborated with us to put together a list of all the businesses and all the things you can do in Cimarron to help patronize local businesses while you're there. So give her a high five when you're there. They're a Philmont family, by the way. I'm blanking on her husband's name, but her and her 2 daughters, one or both of them have worked at Philmont. They're like a Philmont family through and through. So yeah, Hikers Coffee there in Philmont, Cimarron rather. Okay. I think we're done. We're going to wrap her up. Thank you so much, everyone. You have now squandered 62 minutes of your life. You're never getting this back, but I'm glad you wasted it with us. We really do appreciate it. Thank you to everyone of our esteemed panelists for sharing your knowledge and wisdom and Philmont experience with everyone in the group here. Thanks for being a part of the group. Thanks for everyone in the group for coming together to help other people have the best treks they can. That's our goal. We're going to keep doing that. If you have ideas for future shows, please leave them somewhere in the group. Start a new thread. Send Scott a note. Scott likes to get notes. Send Scott a note with some ideas, and he will filter those to the rest of us, and we will make it happen, assuming it's a good idea or sounds fun. I do a lot of things that are bad ideas just because they sound fun. So yeah, that could happen too. Hey, until next time, let me find the little end broadcast button so I can time this right. Until next time, we'll see you on the trail.